Greetings, all Shardvixen here. Alright, so we're doing What Does the Vixen Say? I'm doing 50 Greatest Mysteries. This came from the makers of history, which intrigues me. Just a brief thing. It says, Introduction. In history, there are rarely any clear answers. It's up to us to piece together what evidence we have to draw the most likely conclusions about objects, events, and people, in much the same way that a detective solves crimes. This gets especially difficult when there's no photographic or written documents to refer to, but then again, sometimes even video footage can't be trusted. Here are 50 of history's most perplexing mysteries. So what I'm going to do basically is I'm going to read what they say and then I'm going to talk about it. So 50. SS Orang Medan. Rumor has it that in June 1947 an SOS signal was sent by the SS Orang Medan, a Dutch freighter sailing near Samara and Malaysia. All officers, including captains, are dead, lying in chart room and bridge, possibly whole crew dead. I die. The decaying bodies of the entire ship crew were found strewn across the decks, uninjured but with face twisted in horror. Were they, as some suggested, victims of a biological weapon, or was this something more sinister? Now, I personally haven't heard of this. So see, there's things we all don't have. And I'm going to look these all up afterwards. And then maybe next time we do What Does a Vixen Say, I'll talk about the research of what I found. But I didn't think we could do that all in 20 minutes. So I'm just going to go through each of the mysteries, make my comment on it. And then next time what we'll do is I'll do research for each of these. And maybe I'll put them not in What Does the Vixen Say, but in my topic, brain food. Because then we can think about it. But that's weird, huh? That's just bizarre. I mean, didn't say what year that was. Oh, 1947. 1947. Rumor has it that in 1947. But that's when the SOS signal was. When did they find them, I wonder? All right, so 49. The weight of the soul. In early 19th century Massachusetts, Dr. Duncan McDougall weighed 6 dying patients, 5 men and 1 woman. To his astonishment, the moment life left each of the patients, their weight reduced by 20 grams, something that didn't happen in subsequent experiments on mice and dogs. It is this 20-gram difference, as McDougall concluded, the weight of the human soul. That's weird. I have heard that one. Though I'm not sure I believe that the soul weighs anything. I mean, maybe, for me, I feel like it's the air that's leaving the body. But they said it didn't happen with the mice. So again, we'll research this. Research it! I'm sure nothing else has been added to it because they would have added to it, but who knows. Right? Okay, the Lost Regiment. On 12... I hate when they do that. On 12 August 1915. It should be August 12th. During the World War I Gallipoli campaign, the 5th Battalion, Norfolk Regiment, was advancing against Turkish lines when a strange fog allegedly came down upon them. When it lifted, the men were nowhere to be seen. The fate of the missing men remained a mystery for the rest of the war, with Turkey denying their capture. But in 1919, their remains were finally identified, scattered over an area of about 1 square mile. They had a dragon. That's what I think. The dragon showed up, scooped them all up, and then flew away with them and dropped them one by one. It's really trippy, though, if you think about it. These are all really trippy. I'll say that a lot. I mean, because your mind's like... There's that part of your mind that can't outwardly explain it, so you automatically have to... You go towards the idea that it might be magical in some concept. I tend to think that it's just something we haven't explained yet, or people perceived it incorrectly. That can happen too. But again, like I said, I'm going to try, I'll look into these more, and maybe we'll have conversations about that. Okay, 47, Ghost Blimp. August 16, 1942, a U.S. Navy blimp crewed by Ernest Cody and Charles Adams prepared for takeoff from San Francisco Bay in search of Japanese enemy submarines. An hour into the flight, the pair radioed to say they were going to examine a possible oil spill. The blimp was next seen crash land in Daly City with no sign of the crew. Cody and Adams were never seen again. Ooh. That's one. You wonder if they were alien abducted or they drowned and their bodies were, like, because I mean, people get lost at sea and you never see them again because, well, their body sinks forever or they get munched up or, stuff like that. So, but during that time of period, it would be really like, what? Okay, 46, the Stone of Scone. Now, this one I've heard of. Weighing 152 kilograms with a roughly incised cross on one surface, the Stone of Scone has been associated with the crowning of the Scottish kings since at least 1817, but no one knows why. According to the legend, the stone, also known as Leah Failure, I'm sure I didn't say that right. In fact, I'm almost positive that I didn't say that right, because the A and the I make a different sound than I would know. The Speaking Stone was lent to the Scots by the Irish, but it never returned. Other legends state that the stone, now in Edinburgh Castle, was used by Jacob as a pillow at Bethel, or in Jewish tradition, was the pedestal for the Noah's Ark. I hadn't heard that part. I have a picture of it, though. See, right there. Iron rings on either side of the stone help with transportation. Okay. Legends state that the stone was a pedestal from Noah's Ark. Huh. Noah's Ark is a whole different thing, too. All right, 45. Rohan Codex. Discovered in Hungary in the early 19th century, the Rohan Codex is a 448-page illustrated book containing text in an unknown language and writing system mixing runes with what seems to be Old Hungarian. The book also contains 84 illustrations depicting military battles, landscapes, and religious icons, which has led to theories that it is a religious or historical text. Another possibility is that it was a hoax by Samuel Lataria Nemes, a well-known 19th century forger. You'd think that would be worth money. I mean, if the forger made it. Right? Redid my hair, guys. It looks really pretty. I put a yellow in to get a golden sheen. Gotta talk about the hair, man. Gotta talk about the hair. I never heard about that one. If any of you have heard about any of these and have comments about it, go ahead and make comments. Okay, 44. Shakespeare. I have heard about this one. Shakespeare's Stolen Head. In the chancel of Stratford upon Avon's Holy Trinity Church lies the grave of England's most famous playwright, William Shakespeare. But is all of him there? In 1879, a Garci magazine put out the story that in 1794 the bard's head had been stolen. A story often dismissed as fiction. Recent examination of the grave with the ground-penetrating radar has found that Shakespeare's head does appear to be missing from the resting place, perhaps stolen in order by a fan of his work or sold on by chance graving robbers. The way they write these is a little odd. Yeah, I'd heard about that one. I could see somebody stealing Shakespeare's head. I could see a person who is, I love him so, I just need pieces of him, taking his head and stuffing it. Maybe it's a Frankenstein kind of thing. Somebody stole it with the idea they were going to reanimate him. That'd be kind of weird. The Philosopher's Stone. Okay, so I've heard about the Philosopher's Stone. A legendary substance said to be able to turn base metal in gold, as well as a way of achieving eternal youth and immortality. Stories about the Philosopher's Stone has been around since AD 300. Sir Isaac Newton is among those who have searched in vain for the substance, but in 1382, French bookseller Nicolas Flamel claimed to have transformed lead into gold after decoding an ancient book of alchemy. Although never proven, Flamel did come into considerable wealth around the time. I didn't know he had wealth. Because that, his name, J.R. Rowling, the Harry Potter lady. Did I say that right? I always get her name weird. She used Nicholas Flamel. A lot of people have, because he's supposed to be the father of alchemy. All right, so 42. King Solomon's gold. The biblical Solomon, a king of Israel between 970 to 931 BC, was renowned for his extraordinary wealth, held in a mysterious land known as Ophir. Ophir? Ophir. Yeah, Ophir. The location of Ophir has been placed in Africa, Pakistan, India, Sri Lanka, and Montezuma, to name but a few. But investigators of ancient copper mines in Jordan, active during Solomon's reign, have led some to believe that there, in fact, are the king's fabled mines. I haven't heard about that one. Or maybe I heard about it because I think it was in one of those, isn't it? Like, there's a movie, Search of Solomon's Mine, something like that. I can almost see it. It's like Indiana Jones, but earlier. So maybe, yeah. I have. Okay, 41. Pyramid of Hellenica. Located near Argos in Greece, the Pyramid of Hellenikon remains a mystery as to why and when it was built, possibly dating to 2000 to 2700 BC. Some believe the 3.5 meter high high structure is a memorial to those who died in the struggle between mythical brothers Procreus and Acrosis of the throne of Argos. If I messed those up, I am so sorry. So sorry. I don't think we'll get through all 50. So this will be part 1, and then we'll do part 2, and then we'll work on each individual one. Okay? 40. Wolfengag's iron. Found inside a large piece of coal in Wolfengag am Hannestruck, Austria. Also known in 1885, the Wolfengag iron, also known as Salzburg cube, is an intriguing artifact. Weighing about 800 grams, the egg-shaped object appears to have been carved from a single lump of iron ore. But how did this man-made object end up inside a piece of coal 60 million years old? Theories abound, ranging from a meteorite fragment to being made by a now lost ancient civilization. The most likely explanation is that it's a piece of cast iron used as the ballistic in mining machinery. But how did it get into a 20 to 60 million years ago? I didn't know they made more mining then. That's very intriguing. 39. Spring-heeled Jack. Sightings of a man with a goateed beard, pointing ears and horns, and flashing fiery eyes are recorded all over England during the 19th century. In the first recorded sighting in London in 1837, the mysterious creature is said to have assaulted a young woman on Clapham Common, touching her flesh with claws, cold and clammy as those of a corpse. A second episode the following day saw him leaping a 9-foot wall, earning him the name Spring-heeled Jack. Some attribute the the sightings to mass hysteria, while others believe an ill-humored individual to be responsible. But we will never know, will we? Never heard of that one. It's almost like a precursor to Batman, the picture. And the other interesting thing is, I wonder if that corresponds with Jack the Ripper. That'd be interesting. I wonder if somebody else has made that concept. 38. Indus Valley Civilization. The people of the Indus River Valley once occupied more than 1,000 settlements over 300,000 square mile area along the Indus River in what is now Palestine and northwest India. The civilization reached its peak between 2600 to 1900 BC, and the excavations of two major cities, Harappa and Mohenjo-Dam, have revealed sophisticated buildings with an elaborate underground draining system. But between 1900 BC and 1500 BC, this ancient civilization collapsed and abandoned the cities, with some hiding their valuables under the floors of their home. Was there a war, famine, plague? We may never know. Well, what would make you leave and hide your jewels? Because usually if you hide your jewels, the intent is that you're coming back, but they never came back. So it had to be something that I don't think a flood. Well, maybe a flood would do that. 37. The Tarium mummies. I had never heard of that other one. In 1934, Swedish archaeologists working in the desert of the Tarim Basin in present-day I'm never going to say that right. It's China. Unless I hear it, I'm not going to say it, because I'm sure I'll look that all up. So it's Xinjiang. Found a collection of around 200 mummies dating from 1800 BC AD 200. Incredibly well preserved thanks to the dry soil, these extraordinary mummies display distinct Caucasian features, brown and even red hair and long noses. Buried in upside-down boats surrounded by a host of phallic symbols. DNA analysis have revealed the mummies to be of mixed ancestry with European and some Siberian genetic markers. Who were these people and how did they come to be buried here? Well, obviously they were explorers and they got lost there and couldn't go home and had to be buried. Right? Okay. Rome's Lost Legion. I've heard of this one. The 9th Legion comprised some of the finest fighters of the Roman Empire. Formed in 65 BC, they fought in Hispania and Gaul before joining Claudia's invasion of Britain in AD 43 and taking part in the subduing of... Oh, I know her. I know it because I read her book. It's the Irish Queen. I'm going to mess her name up too. I'd have to hear it. Boudica? I don't think that's it. Boudicca? Rebellion AD 61, which saw the loss of many of the legion's foot soldiers. So I have a processing disorder. So you guys can, if you're new to the channel and you're like, why doesn't she just pronounce them? I will mangle them. I can't do it unless I hear it in my head. I've read the books though of her. She's the Irish Queen. She was also considered a pirate, and her name is Boudicca. I envy those people who can look at things and sound them out right away. I can't do that. And also I don't know, Irish language or Celtic language or however you all say that. I don't know it, so couldn't pronounce it well. And I think it's rude to mangle things. The 9th, so her rebellion of AD 61, which saw the loss of many of the legion's foot soldiers. The ninth crops up in various instances after this, but mysteriously seems to vanish without explanation in or around AD 117. The legion, as novelist Rosemary Sutcliffe would have us believe in her 1954 book Eagle of the Ninth, disappeared in the mists of Caledonian, only to then be slaughtered by northern tribes. I've heard of this one, the Romans' Lost Legion. Okay, so 35. We're probably going to end between these next two, and then we'll take them up again on the next one. Not next week. Not the next. Well, maybe the next one. So we'll keep them in going in order anyway. Robin Hood. English folklore's most famous hero is probably Robin Hood, the outlaw who robbed from the rich to give to the poor. The first literary reference to Robin is in around 1377 poem Piers Plowman. Piers Plowman, and his legend has lived on ever since. But was there a real Robin Hood who inspired these folk tales? Medieval chroniclers were convinced that Robin Hood was alive and living in Sherwood Forest. Christian revelers in the 15th century celebrated May Day with games involving a Robin Hood type figure with religious overtones. Certainly as early as the 13th century, Robin Hood, Hod, it's H-O-D, it would be Robert Hod, or Rabun Hod, Rabun Hod, another Rabun, R-A-B-U-N Hod, had become popular names for the criminals, but concrete evidence of his existence remains elusive. I'll do two more, and then that'll be it, and then we'll come back at another time. And if this is boring to you, and you don't want to ever hear it again, you should make a comment down below. But I'm just trying to do different things, be interesting. I am interesting, so I'm trying to show how interesting I really am. The Carnac stones. Surrounding the French village of Carnac in Brittany are more than 3,000 stones, some standing alone and others positioned in clusters. It is generally thought that the stones were erected during the Neolithic period, 4500-2000 BC, but no one knows why. The most popular theory is that they were linked to astronomy, possibly acting as calendars and observatories, and allowing priests to predict astronomical events such as eclipse. Another theory is that they were erected as a way of honoring the dead. Meanwhile, a local myth proposed that they are the remains of the Roman legion turned to stone by the wizard Merlin. Ha. Ha. I kind of heard something like that. But there's a lot of stones in Brittany that have been erected that they're not sure how they were erected. Okay, last one. Bog bodies. From Lindo Man to Elling Woman, several hundred ancient corpses have been found preserved in peat bogs across Europe. But the how and the why they died is often a mystery. The incredible preservation of their bodies is such that cloth, skins, nails, hair, stomach, contents, and even facial expressions have survived thousands of years, giving an unprecedented view into the lives of our ancient forebears. Many show signs of gruesome death. The Danish Tolan man, for example, has been hanged, buried with a noose still around his neck. Eyes and mouth deliberately closed. Experts believe he was a human sacrifice. Alright, so that's it for these. We're going to come back. I don't know when this was published. So I don't know how much older these are or not. So I'm going to look them all up. Not yet. We'll come back and we'll start with the Lost City of Helike. So if you've heard about any of these, be sure to make a comment or share or do whatever. Anyway, so I will catch you all on the flip side. I am out of here.